lights, camera, flashes. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are starting episode 1 of a series. It is one that I think is going to be fun and educational. We get to learn together, which is going to be pretty sweet. And it is all about, have you guessed, modeling with smart dolls. So Jen, you have a very a model-like face. So what would you call this face? Would you call that your blue steel?
I guess my best known look is Ferrari. That would be the look that I really made my bread and butter on.
Could you do that for us?
Sure. I guess I'm also known for blue steel.
Can we see that one?
Blue steel?
Yeah.
Ferrari is a much more aggressive look. Blue steel I really save for softer catalog work.
So here's what we're doing today. Episode 1 is all about standing poses. And these are all poses that can be done with, without a stand. And there's one pose that requires a tripod stand. So the best way to do that was to get me on Pinterest and to start on fashion modeling board, which I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, but it was a great time and a great idea. I selected 12 photos, and with those 12 photos, the goal in mind was to have Jen model as exact as possible, or as closely as possible, the image that was used as inspiration. So I will be having a photo on both sides of the screen that are going to show the photo, the inspiration photo, and Jen. And we are going to grade it based on how close it is, accurately representing the photo, and how aesthetically pleasing is it. So, number 1 pose was like a lean against the wall with the pelvis being kind of thrust out. And then here's Jen. I actually really like this pose. I like it better than the original pose because I don't really like the whole pelvis being pushed out so far. And what's cool about it and worked out well is that smart dolls can't really do a lot of pelvic thrust. They don't have hip rotation, front back movement. They have the chest. So I actually liked how this looked better than the original. So I still gave it a check mark. Pose number 2 is this photo here, and it was hands above the head, leaning against the wall. So again, we didn't need a stand for this. So now I'll insert the photo of Jen, and I didn't have any concerns about this photo. I think it looks like a really nice, natural pose for a smart doll, and it looks good on a human. So I also gave this pose a thumbs up. Pose number 3 also did not need a stand. So looking at the two together, my only criticism, again, and this is going to be a frequent critique throughout this, is just, there are limitations to what smart doll can do for poses. And that was not being able to get the hips to move, jut out from side to side. But other than that, I thought it looked like a good pose. It works. If you're someone that doesn't enjoy seeing those seams or those joint breaks on the doll, then, it would be a good pose to use a long sleeve shirt. I don't mind seeing the joints. It's part of the aesthetic and the look for me for the dolls. Pose number 4, no stand. This is one of my least favorite poses. Now in the image, I remember seeing it and being like, this is gonna be a great image. It's gonna work really well. I'm gonna like it. And ironically, while the pose worked and it was fine, I just felt like it looked too stiff, which I know they're dolls, they're stiff, but it read awkward to me. So maybe if I would have played around with the angle a little bit more, I could have found a way to make it work the way that I wanted to. Number 5. It looks really amazing in the photo. It is a beautiful pose on a smart doll. I don't hate the pose, but it is not represented well. I don't think that it hit all the check boxes. But I do think it's interesting, and I would like to try it again, maybe in a sitting pose, but I don't think it looks as good standing. You may have a different opinion of what you think it looks like, but for me, not my cup of tea, and not being able to pop the hip out and get that angle to match just didn't work for me for a standing pose. Pose number 6. Oh, and I forgot to say, for pose number 5, we didn't use a stand. Pose number 6 also does not require a stand. I like this pose. I think it looks really good in the inspiration photo, and I liked this pose for Jen generally. It didn't hit all the check boxes, even though I still gave it a check mark because I like it, and I think it was just so slightly off. And what I mean by that is you can tell that the hand wasn't able to go back as far onto the back, and then the hand wasn't able to go completely behind the head being invisible. But I really like the pose, and I think it's really close to what the original photo looks. So I didn't have the heart to give it an X. I think it deserves the check mark. It's a cool pose. I really like it. Pose number 7 required a stand. Okay, so now we're getting into stand land. And when I say stand land, I mean just a regular stand. I have the clickety-clack stand. If you don't have it, I highly recommend it. I think it works a lot better than a regular stand, but I don't see why a regular stand wouldn't work for any of the poses that I say stand outside of the tripod. I absolutely adore this pose. I love it. It is one of my top 3 favorite poses for this video. No, she wasn't able to reach as far for the grab, but I don't mind it at all. I think this is such a beautiful pose. It's unique. It looks like there's movement to it. And I think that's what I'm finding, is that I really enjoy the poses where it looks like there's life and motion that's being incorporated. It just looks really good. So 10 out of 10. Yes, this one gets a check mark. Pose number 8 is another stand pose. I remember seeing this and knowing that I was going to be using Jen, I was like, this is a power pose. It's strong, it's cool, it would look good with boots or whatever kind of aesthetic. So I was really hopeful that this would look good, and it really does look good. I think my only critique was that you can see the stand because it's a profile shot, but if you're someone that is good with photoshopping or using Procreate to edit things out, you can easily edit it out and be left with a really just dope photo. So this one gets a check mark. Pose number 9. And I know that you're seeing me look down. I had to have all these notes written out because there is no way I would be able to remember everything. And so this is helping me to stay on track and make sure I'm giving you accurate information. And this did require a tripod stand. Now, we got a tripod stand in a chaos box from Danny Choo, and it is one of the greatest stands. I think everyone should have one in their collection because it really does open up the world. Are you good? Did you get it? Do you smell like it? Does it smell like you? So glad for that. The tripod stand is great because it really opens up lots of different possibilities for poses that you just can't do with a regular stand. And this is one of my top 3 favorites. It is a beautiful pose. It is just awesome. It is sick. I love this outfit. I love that she was able to wear the Supergirl boots for this pose. It's beautiful. I think it is awesome. And I'm excited to do an entire episode of just tripod poses because I want to see what more can be done. So we get a check mark, all the love, all the hearts. We love it. We love it. It's so good. It's so good. Almost done. Number 10 is another one of the top 3. So there we go. This is number 3. This is also Ben's favorite. This was Ben's personal favorite from all the photos that he took. And I call this the purse hold. And it was a very simple pose. And I even grabbed sunglasses for it because she was rocking sunglasses. And it looks good. I used a stand because her toes had to be pointed inward. And in order to kind of cheat that bent knee, legs turned in look, meant I couldn't use her own balance to make it work. My only critique was being able to cheat those knees in a little bit more, but I still think it looks amazing. It looks very, very close to the original photo. It is such a fashionista glam pose and I love it. And Jen is just glam. Everything about her is badass, glam, just gorgeousness. 10 out of 10. We love it. We're here for it. So now we're on to number 11. I don't have enough fingers. 10, 11. I like the idea of doing this kind of a pose in the future. I don't like this one. It got an X for me. I really don't like this pose with her doing it in standing. I think this is a pose that would be better suited if she was sitting, maybe even laying down and resting. I also wasn't able to get her head tilted as far as I wanted and get that arm and the angle right where it needed to be without her pushing her head back the opposite direction. Lastly, pose number 12. I call this the hula pose. Now, if you're looking at the photo, you're like, why is that a hula pose? So if you look at the original photo and then you look at Jen, you can see why I gave it the name, the hula pose, because it looks like Jen is doing the hula. And in the photo, the original photo, it doesn't. It looks very lovely and it's got very nice aesthetic and length in the arms just don't stretch far enough to where this pose works. Is this good for maybe a welcome to the show, let me show off something, or maybe you do want to do a hula dancer or cosplay? This would be a really good pose for that. But in terms of usability for me, I just don't think I would want to utilize it again in the future. So sadly, it gets a big old X. All in all, I was super pleased with this challenge, with all of the poses. I thought for sure I would have way more nopes than yeses. And I think it's just because when I'm on the spot and I'm taking photos, I'm not thinking very clearly about the pose. I'm rushing and I'm going back to poses that I know have worked before. So I'm very motivated to continue this series and also to keep building my Pinterest modeling board because I just think it's gonna help push my photography skills even further, get me out of my comfort zone, and get me thinking more creatively with the ladies. And when it's more creative and it's more interesting, then it's a better time for you guys, my audience, and having you enjoy the content that I put out there and the art that I'm creating, because these are works of art. They are works of art in just the way that they are built, but they are works of art that you take with you and you move and you pose. They are action items. They are not meant to sit on a shelf all day long and just look cute. They're meant to be out in the world with us, doing cool things and being brought to life. Hearing Danny talk about Smart Doll is that these are travel dolls. These are girls that are meant to go out and explore, be seen, be talked about, people asking questions. It's cool, and I like it. It's different. So not only do they have an emotional piece with me in my heart that I love them, and they all have their own unique personalities, but I love having a new medium, several new mediums to express myself creatively. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and let me know what episode 2 should be. And that'll be around coming in November. Until then, I love y'all lots, and we will talk soon. Peace out, bean sprouts. Bye. For anyone that thinks that I'm drinking a beer, I'm not. It's called Liquid Death, and it is mountain water. Drinking water from the Alps. It just looks really cool and it's trending right now, so I want to trend too.